Hi guys, how are we doing? It's Martin from Voyager Project here with the first video in a short series of videos about building a pedal board, specifically a sort of MIDI switched pedal board that you can set up presets just using basic effects pedals in a simple way. I've got a main pedal board already set up that uses this that I've done many video demos on, but what I wanted to do was create a second pedal board, a sort of typical rock pedal board that I can use when I want to do smaller things without the big board, or if we get a second guitarist back in the band, something they could use, or yeah, just make it really flexible. And really I'm just basing around some simple components, and I thought I'd go through it step by step how we put one together, just to help out anyone who's maybe struggling with the concepts or just wants a little bit of a confidence builder. And I'm kind of looking at doing this on a budget, so essentially the components that I'm using I'll go through. But what do you need if you're building a pedal board? Well, the first thing you need is a board itself to mount them on, and in this case I have a wooden shelf. It's nothing terribly glamorous, it's left over from a kitchen cupboard. And all I've done is I've got some offcuts of carpet tiles from another job I was doing and glued them down, just to give me something to velcro the pedals to. You can use velcro top and bottom or 3M dual lock or whatever, but this was free and the shelf was free, so that saved me what could potentially be quite a bit of money. In terms of size, it's about 16 inches by 24 inches or somewhere about there. It's roughly the same size as a Pedal Train 3, but obviously it's a flat piece of board. Okay, so that's kind of what all components are going on. Now, what do we actually need? Well, before we get anything else, we're going to need some means of powering our pedals. And for that, on this board, I'm going to use this brute here, which is a Berkey Flatliner Professional. This one I've had a good number of years. It's the Tombo modified one, which basically means that a couple of the transformers or the taps were swapped out to give the potential of, well, that one puts out 15 volts, and these are adjustable up to, that one's adjustable up to 15 volts, that one's adjustable up to 12 volts, usually they're 9 and up to 12. So what have we got? We've got, they're all isolated so we don't get any noise between pedals, 5 standard 9 volt DC outputs, a 15 volt DC output, 2 adjustable ones, so they're adjustable for sag and for voltage, and then a 9 volt AC output as well. Now this is a fairly meaty thing, it weighs a ton, it's quite big, but it's ultra reliable. I've never had any problem with it, and it's not in use in my current rig, so rather than buying a new power supply, this is going on the board. It's also worth mentioning that every single output on there, except the AC output, is rated at 200 milliamps, which is plenty for powering nearly everything. The AC output is rated at 1 amp, so yeah, it's about as good as we're going to get. I mount it right on the back corner of the board there. I probably want to just stick a bit more velcro or something underneath the back, or a bit of carpet, just to ensure it's secure, but I put it right at the back, power supply outlet there, just so I can plug in a standard IEC lead, and I'm good to go. Now, as I said, this is going to be a MIDI switched power, so it's a MIDI switched pedal board system, so you can use, I mean, various companies make MIDI switching gear. In this case, I'm going to be using equipment from RJM Music Technology. Ron and Sherry are friends of mine, and I've been affiliated with the company for a couple of years. So my controller will be the RJM Music MasterMind. This is an old one. I've had it a good while now, 3 or 4 years I think, pretty much since they were launched, and It's had a little bit of a battering, it's missing a screw, and it's got bits of where the tape stuck to it and whatever you. But again, ultra reliable. You could jump on this all day and none of these switches will go, which is what you want on a board, because these are going to take the battering, which means that your pedals aren't going to take any abuse at all. And 25 banks of 5 presets, more than you're ever going to need for most shows, particularly if you're only using pedals and not MIDI gear. Now at the moment this has got rubber feet on, so I would need to take them off and put some Velcro or dual lock on the back to mount it to the board. But the important thing is to make sure everything fits. Now I know they fit on this board, but what you always want to do when you're building a board is check that everything fits before you start doing any wiring or anything like that. And then the thing to switch to loops, again from RJM Music Technology, this is a Mini Effect Gizmo, half rack, very shallow, very lightweight unit. This one has got dual lock everywhere on it because it was in a rack system previously. This is, let's say, prototype 1, one of the very earliest of these units. And yeah, I mean, I have one on my other board, I have another one kicking around as well. I would rely on these every day of my life, I think. Really simple to program. You just call up a program, choose which loop you want on the front, press the right button until it flashes, job done. Got 5 loops, so I can plug 5 pedals into true bypass loops. It's got a buffer built in, it's got a click stopper, which means you don't get any nasty pops when you change pedals and stuff. Runs off standard 9 volts DC. Great bit of kit. So it's really small, so that'll just sit on the back of the board next to the flatliner. You notice that I've already put in jacks, and okay, these are Switchcraft 380s, which are really, they're short barrel jacks, they're really not cheap, but I already had them left over. I've salvaged them from old cables, so if we're doing this on the cheap, just find something that fits, because everything's a bit tight. I like these short jacks for this, but if you've got a bit more room, just standard nitric or Switchcraft or something will do you the job. Don't scrimp on cheap jacks because they're just going to give you trouble. So that just slots in there next to the flatliner, and you can see that our board is starting to take shape. Now the next thing to choose is pedals. What you're going to plug into. I always like to plug into a pedal first. In this case, on this board, because of the kind of stuff I'm looking for, I'm going to plug into a wah pedal. Here we have original Morley Bad Horsey wah pedal. Really rugged, great optical wah, never going to get scratchy. Yeah, I love this pedal. I've got it. My wife bought it for me many years ago for Christmas. So as you can see, I've also got a plug in the output of this. These are basic pancake jacks. I'd love to say they were Switchcraft. They're not. They're kind of cheap, nasty things, but they are very slimline, and they haven't given me any problems. I've come across cheap pancake jacks that actually give audio dropouts and stuff, or too much resistance or what have you. I've not had this problem with these. I can't remember where I got them from. They were cheap, but they did the job. So again, I put that in there just so that I make sure everything fits, and that can just slot just next to the MasterMind there, right on the edge of the board. And now we have a wah pedal. This is getting quite heavy, partly because the board itself was quite heavy and partly because I'm using some quite chunky components. Okay, so I'm going to set that to one side. Now, we've got 5 loops for pedals. What we're going to use? Well, for my 5 pedals in loops, I'm going to use MXR pedals. Reason being, I've got a load of them that aren't in use on my main rig, and they're ultra reliable, sound pretty good, and are pretty cheap. So I'm going to start off with a distortion pedal. In this case, Custom Badass 78 distortion. It's not quite up to my Keeley modded DS1s, but it's a nice sounding pedal, and yeah, again, it's nice and reliable. And that can just slot on the board. I'm not going to show you actually me attaching pedals to the board, but I say that's loop 1. Loop 2, an overdrive pedal to give a lighter kind of gain thing. In this case we'll go for the Custom Badass modified overdrive from MXR. I've done a video explaining this in detail. Again, nice pedal. And all I'm doing is just popping them down on the carpet. As you can see, they've got jacks in both the left and the right, the input and the output, just to just to make sure everything fits, because it's all going to be, it's a bit tight, so we want to make sure everything fits right. We're not fastening anything down permanently at the moment. We're just putting the pedals on, and then we can actually start thinking about wiring. Next up, MXR Smart Gate. Because I don't like noise and I just want to cut the noise down. Again, it'll be in a true bypass loop, so I can turn it off when I don't want it on, but I always like to have a gate available to me, even if not always in use. So that will be loop 3. And then we want some kind of modulation effect, be it a chorus or a phaser or what have you. I am going for an MXR micro flanger. Again, I like this pedal. Sounds great, really versatile, good clean, good distorted. So that's my modulation pedal of choice for this board, or one of them anyway. We'll come to that in a second. And finally, in my true bypass loops, carbon copy analog delay. Now this is the one pedal. The other 4 MXR pedals are only designed to run at 9 volts. This one, even though it says 9 volts, if you sort of hunt around for advice from Dunlop on the internet, you'll find out that you can run it at up to 18 volts because it has a rectifier chip in there that keeps the voltage under control, and gives you some quite interesting effects when you run it at a higher voltage. Just pumps up the level of the delay and regeneration and all that kind of stuff. It sounds really interesting, so that'll be what I'll be running at 15 volts on this system. And it's just a great sounding delay pedal. So that just about squeezes on there on the end. And that's my 5 loops. But because I then want the flexibility to sometimes be able to plug into 1 amp, sometimes into 2, and just something to give everything a bit more width, I'm going to take a TC Electronic Corona chorus pedal and go mono in, and then it's got 2 outputs. This will be on the extreme top left of the board, so if I'm plugging into 1 amp I go into the mono jack, if I'm plugging into 2 amps I go into both the mono and what's labelled stereo, but it's actually just a second mono but for the other half of the stereo chorus effect. Again, great sounding chorus pedal, so it's there. I always run these things really subtly, but this pedal is going on the top left. Now that hasn't got any dual look or anything on yet, so I'll have to hold it in place when I hold up the board, but just to give you the idea. Okay, now this all fits together like, if this will stay in place, say I'm going to have to just hold the chorus in pedal. The chorus pedal isn't quite where it would be, but you can basically see the boards there. Wah here, the MasterMind as the controller, the 5 MXR pedals will be in the loops of the Effect Gizmo, everything powered from a flatliner, and then the chorus just to give me my output interface. So the next thing to do would be to wire everything up, and that will be the subject of the next video. But as ever, before you start wiring anything up, check that all your pedals work, and then when you come to wiring it up, just wire it up with basic patch leads first. Make sure that you're not getting any issues before you start cutting things to length. Now the cable I'm going to use is on order and should be with me within the next few days, so as soon as I get that I will make a start on that and I will shoot the next video explaining what's going on. But I hope this has been a kind of an interesting start in looking at how to build a MIDI switched pedal board. If you've got any questions, drop me a line. Otherwise I will see you next time with part 2 where we start to wire stuff up. Okay, until next time, take care guys, I'll see you soon.